Alright, so 2-minute Tanya tidbit for today. So we're in the middle of speaking to a Beinoni who's having a hard time being able to focus on serving godliness, as he has a lot of disturbances from his animal soul. He has timtum alev, he has his heart covered over, and he doesn't feel the excitement in serving God. So we're in the middle of explaining to him that when you crush the body, when you crush the animal soul, you'll allow the godly soul to shine through. And we gave 2 different ways of being able to arouse a person to realize that he's not as great as he thinks he is, to be able to crush the spirit of Sitra Achra, the spirit of Nefesh Bahamis within him, in order to allow the Nefesh Bahamis to shine through, Nefesh Elikis to shine through. Now, in today's Tanya, the Alter Rebbe is going to continue what we said yesterday. As yesterday we mentioned the idea that a person should think to himself about the sins which he did as a child, the sins which he did in his youth, and through that he'll remember and remind himself that he's not actually so great. He has some things that he still has to fix up, and he still has to do tshuva for things that he did previously. In today's Tanya, the Alter Rebbe says like this: that seemingly a person, that makes sense to say if someone has big sins and big terrible things that they did in their youth. How about if he doesn't have such big terrible sins? He doesn't have these big issues that he should look back at and say that, oh, I'm not so bad. Oh, I did this, I did that. Similarly, I'm not such a bad person. Says Alter Rebbe, still, you think and make a calculation to yourself, like it says in the Zohar, should be a mara de chushbana, a master of calculations, to make a calculation within your own mind and look back on all the thoughts, speech, and action that you had throughout your lifetime. Were they all from the side of kedusha, the side of holiness? Were you really doing everything proper the whole time, or might have been from the other side, the side which is not kedusha? As we know that anything which is not the side of kedusha is called sitra achra, klipa, the other side. As sitra achra, the other side, refers to anything which is not kedusha, like we explained in chapter 6. And therefore, anything which is not a thought, which is purely for God's sake, is already considered sitra achra. So make a calculation to yourself. Was everything that I was doing for the sake of God, or was it for other things as well? And we know that at the time that if someone does something, they become a chariot. They're giving themselves over to whatever they're doing at that time. So when somebody's doing something which is in kedusha, when he really did have those thoughts, speech, and action for the side of kedusha, he was fully given over to the side of kedusha at that time. He's a chariot for God's revelation and for his godly light and accomplishing major things. But God forbid the same is true the other way around. That if the thoughts, speech, and action were not only for kedusha the whole time, and they were given over sometimes to other things, then at that time he was becoming a chariot, God forbid, which is impure. He's becoming a chariot for these other sides, for sitra achra. And therefore a person should make a calculation to himself, really, is that where I'm holding, that I'm able to be so full of myself that I have everything under control? I have a lot of things to fix up. I need to straighten myself up before I start being able to expect that I should feel better. And therefore when you straighten yourself up and you lower yourself down, the spirit of the klipa and the sitra achra, you're able to allow the godly light to shine through. End of today's Tanya. See you next time.